Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to the Christmas season of Who'd Win and Why. And there are many reasons to be excited for Christmas, but the main topic of this video today is going to cover none of them. Today, we got the Grinch going up against Krampus. Now, this video is going to be a bit like the one, well, not the last one, but one of the earlier Christmas episodes that I did, which is Frosty the Snowman versus Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, because we're talking more about, like, characters that you think about when you think of Christmas, or just, like, more so, like, Christmas icons, like Rudolph and Frosty. So I'm assuming this episode will be a bit shorter. At the very least, it'll be shorter than the last one I did, which was like freaking half an hour long. Sorry about that, by the way, guys. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So, who would win and why? Let's find out. So first I'm going to talk about the Grinch. Now the Grinch doesn't have a lot of combat experience. From my knowledge, he doesn't have any combat experience at all. And he is at least 53 years old, because he's been putting up with the Who's for 53 years old. He's probably a bit older than that, obviously. But you know, who knows. But yeah, so he doesn't have a lot of combat experience, if any at all. But he does still have some tricks up his sleeve. Obviously he's a very good strategist. You know, giving him just a few hours, he's able to make his own Santa costume, and he's able to map out what he's gonna do, and going to all the houses in Whoville, and you know, get everything together. So yeah, he is a pretty good strategist, and he can come up with strategies when you give him the time. And he overall just seems to be a fairly smart person. So you know, he has used different in the movie, the special, you know, like How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the special, like, cartoon thing. He did use different objects throughout the movie. I'm not gonna give him, not the movie, the special. I'm not gonna give him everything. Like, you know, when he's using a mirror or something, you know, in his own cave or whatever, and he has scissors when he's cutting out stuff. Obviously, he wouldn't have that just whenever. But you know, there are some things, you know, since I'm giving him his Santa costume, since that's like what he's fighting in, I'm gonna give him everything that he had when he was out, you know, like on his sleigh, just to mix it up a little and to make it a bit more interesting. So while he was on his sleigh, he has bags, obviously, you know, to put the presents in. He also has his whip when he whips his dog Max to make him go faster, you know, the dog reindeer. And I believe he also had a bugle. You know, I guess that's something he has. Why not? So yeah, those are the things that he would carry with him when he had his Santa costume on. So I'm just going to give him that, again, just to mix it up a little. So when it comes to speed and durability, it's a bit hard to say for that because he doesn't seem to have too many speed or durability feats. Whenever he's getting hurt or anything like that, he doesn't get hurt all that much, and you know, anything that he does withstand, it's nothing that would do any considerable amount of damage, so it's fair to say that he probably has the durability of a regular person. Same with speed. Some people might say that he does have enhanced speed because he was able to go through all of Whoville and, you know, like, collect everything all in one night. But the thing is, you saw how many Who's were, like, if you saw the special, obviously, you would see how many Who's were standing around the Christmas tree, and there really weren't that many Who's, and it's implied that's all the Who's in Whoville, and it's unfair to say that each Who has their own house, because we've seen that inside the house there are like a ton of Who's in one house, and you know, there are some kids obviously, and they wouldn't have a house to themselves. So when you really think about it, one night probably gives Grinch enough time to go through all the houses, assuming he has like average speed, you know, that a human would have. When it comes to strength, however, now this is something very interesting. After the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes, he was able to lift a whole sleigh, and they say that he had the strength of 10 Grinches plus 2, which is 12. And assuming that his heart is still 3 sizes too big, he would, 1 size too big, 3 sizes it grew. So how strong is he? You know, but what I'm thinking is that it's too tedious just to try to figure out how much was on that sleigh that he was lifting. Instead, what I'm going to try to do is figure out how strong is a Grinch. You know, because they say, like, 10 Grinches plus 2. So how strong is he before that point? So that's what I'm going to try to figure out. And he does seem to be considerably stronger than a regular person. You've seen that when he was inside houses, he was able to throw up presents in bags all the way up a chimney and stuff a tree up a chimney as well. Now, some of you may not think that's too impressive, but when you really think about it, think about trying to throw, like, a bag full of just Christmas decorations up a chimney for it to land considerably, like, imagine at the top of the chimney. It landed like maybe about here and then landed on the house. That's a very high distance to throw it up. I know that I would never be able to do it. I don't think anyone would really, because when you think about it, a chimney is pretty tall. At very least, it is over 2 stories high. So you're throwing something like up a very skinny chimney, and you land, it gets a really high distance up and lands on a house, and he seemed to do it with like barely any effort at all. So when you really think about it, that's a very impressive feat. So I'm going to say that Grinch is maybe roughly twice as strong as a regular person. And again, some of you may think that that's a bit unfair, that I might be highballing it a bit, but I honestly think that's a bit of a low ball, considering that he was able to throw it up like a whole chimney, get some air after it landed, like after it got out of the chimney, and he was maybe using about 5-10% effort, meaning that at his very best, he could probably throw something like 20 or 10 times heavier. So I'm just going to say that he's maybe about twice as strong. That's just what I think. That's from what I've observed. And a regular person can deadlift about 155 pounds. So when you multiply that by 2, you get 310 pounds. So that's about as much as the Grinch was able to lift, I believe. That's how much I think he'd be able to lift. And again, it might be even higher considering that, he was barely using any effort. And when you multiply that number by 12, you get over you get over 1.5 tons. And because it's, and because, again, I probably lowballed it, I'm thinking he's probably closer to 2 tons, which is about Wolverine-level strength. And that's really impressive, assuming that his heart still grew 3 sizes and it stayed that way, assuming, which I'm pretty sure it would, just because it's supposed to be like closer to, it's like after the movie already ended. So yeah, I'm assuming that's about as much that Grinch could lift. Again, I'm not really given any clear numbers, but I'm thinking 2 tons is about I think that's a good rough estimate. So yeah, he is extremely strong, not very known for speed or durability. However, he is very stealthy. He can go through many houses without waking anyone up, even when he's like making a lot of noise taking stuff, out of the fridge, or like using a magnet to take all the stockings, and he can even slither on the floor, which is something, I guess, is it stealthy? What category would that fall under? I really don't know. And he also seems to have a good level of endurance, because on one of the wires connecting 2 of the houses, he was actually playing monkey bars and going across, holding on to different wreaths, and again, he was doing it with barely any effort at all. So his stamina also seems to be a bit high as well. So yeah, just again, he's a cartoon character, or at least in this thing he is. So it's hard to say the exact numbers, but it's also fair to say that he is probably stronger and has more endurance than a regular person. So yeah, that's just from what I've gathered. That's what I've gathered. So I really feel that that's really all I have to say about the Grinch. I've said what he has. I've said that his strength and endurance is probably a bit higher than normal. 2 tons. Again, some of you may not agree with me on that, but that's personally through my calculations and through my estimates, that's what I got. So yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about the Grinch. So now let's move on to Krampus. Now, some of you may not know who Krampus is. I believe that in some countries, he's almost like the evil version of Santa Claus. That's like, if you're bad, he will come to your house and he will punish you by scaring you. So he doesn't have a lot of combat experience either. He hasn't really fought anyone like fist to fist, but that doesn't mean that he's helpless. Because from what I've gathered, he seems to have, well, okay, this is just like all the information that people have given me, and just from what I've gotten from myself. He seems to have great strength, great speed, or enhanced strength, enhanced speed, enhanced endurance, enhanced durability. So we're not really given any clear numbers, and because he doesn't have his own Christmas special or anything like that, it's really hard to say anything feat wise. What has he done? We're not really given any numbers. We're not even it's not even that we're I know we're not given any numbers, we're not given any numbers for Grinch either, but we're not even said if he has, a super soldier level of strength, a superhuman level of strength. We're not said anything like that. We're not told that at all. So it's really hard to say how strong he is, and how fast he is, and how durable he is, and everything like that. But I'll come back more so to that later. When it comes to versatility, he actually is a bit more versatile than some people might think. He actually knows a lot of black magic, and he has supernatural abilities, and those include fear. He can invoke fear on anyone, no matter, I think he could probably even do it to Batman or whatever. So that kind of sounds stupid when I'm saying that. But he has the power to invoke fear on anyone he looks at. So he'll make him afraid of him. And he also has he can also put a curse on anyone whenever he wants. And again, I don't really just like Krampus is one of those characters that we're given a lot of stuff about him, but not too much in detail. We don't know how strong this guy is. We don't know what exactly he can do, like what curses he has. We don't know the scope of his supernatural abilities or anything like that. We're just told that that's the kind of stuff he has. It obviously means that he's very versatile, but we don't know exactly what he can do. Like we don't know exactly what he can do. So it's a bit hard to analyze him, but I'll get more into that kind of stuff in the explanation of the video, and I'll just try my best to explain who I think would win. But anyway, so he also has his bag of demonic toys and possessed gingerbread men. Some of you might consider it outside help, but kind of like with in Ragman versus Ragdoll, which was a fight I did before, it's known, like he's known to do that kind of stuff, so it just doesn't make sense for me to remove it from the equation on purpose. And plus, they're demonic toys, they're not really living things, and even like the possessed gingerbread men, I don't even think I would consider them living things either, but that proves that he is still more versatile, and he does have things to help him if he needs to in an actual fight. So yeah, that's really all I feel I need to say about Krampus. Even though he seems to be more versatile than the Grinch was overall. Just because there wasn't a lot of calculating to do, the analysis portion was a lot shorter. So now, who I think would win this fight? I'm just going to be straight with you right now. I think Krampus would win this fight. Really, the only advantages that I see Grinch having over him is strategy and intellect, and possibly strength. And I say possibly strength and endurance as well. And I say possibly for those two because we know that the Grinch has a pretty high level of strength and endurance, and we know that Krampus has great strength and great endurance, so we don't exactly have any numbers or anything like that. So I think it would be fair to assume that Grinch is probably stronger and probably has a bit more endurance than Krampus does, but in every other category except for smarts, Krampus, I think, pretty much destroys. Just because, they say he has great speed, great durability, that's obviously more than the average person, which seems to be about what the Grinch has. And even if he doesn't, even if for some reason Grinch is faster and more durable, for whatever reason, again, if anyone has any, proof of that, tell me in the comments below. But from what I've gathered, I don't seem to think that he has anything like that. But he could just use his supernatural abilities. He can invoke fear on him just by thinking about it. And even if you want to say that Grinch is stealthier, and that could give him an upper hand. Two things I have to say to that. One thing is that Grinch is going to have to kill Krampus anyway in order to win, which means he's going to have to show himself at one point or another. The only thing he could do with that is delay the inevitable. And also, I'm not even sure if Grinch really destroys Krampus in that area, considering that Krampus would have to go into a house and be extremely quiet until he needs to scare someone. So it seems to me that Krampus is also pretty stealthy himself, but again, it doesn't really seem to factor in that much into a fight. And when it comes to versatility, not only does it seem that Krampus is faster and more durable and just seems to have more advantages, but even though Grinch does have bags and a whip and a bugle, the only offensive thing that he would really have is his whip. And it seems that I don't want to say that Krampus has unlimited magical abilities, but because it's just not really flat out said, it's hard to say what exactly he can do. He can put a curse on someone. What kind of curse? We don't really know, but I at least know that Grinch can't put a curse on someone, and he also doesn't have any black magic or demonic toys or supernatural abilities or anything like that. And I kind of, as soon as I heard this fight, I kind of already figured that Krampus was gonna win, even before I even did any research or anything like that. And it's because Krampus is more one of those characters that you're not supposed to know much about them, but that's kind of what makes them powerful. And if you don't know what I mean, last season, in the Halloween season, I had a fight which was called Michael Myers versus Sam, and Sam was from Trick or Treat. And the spoiler, in case you wanted to see that, I made Sam win, and that's because he seems to be able to have some sort of reality warping abilities, and he just seems to be able to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, because that's almost like what the horror story is making him do, if that makes any sense. But for me, it's like, it seems to me, if Krampus needs to be able to teleport in order to get into a house and whatnot, he will be able to do that. If he needs to shapeshift in order to invoke fear on someone, which sounds stupid now that I'm saying it because he can already do that, but if he wants to be able to do that, I think that he can use his supernatural abilities to do that. He's one of those characters that it's like the storyline will allow him to almost do whatever he wants when the story needs him to. Like he almost seems to have some sort of control over reality. Because like he can just appear wherever he wants. He can almost like maybe he can even like suck your soul or something. I don't even know. But it seems that Krampus is one of those characters that just punishes someone. He's one of these like, I don't want to say gods, but he's like one of those characters that's like seems to be above everyone else, like one of these supernatural characters that just doesn't see, like kind of like Sam from Trick or Treat, that seems to be able to do whatever he wants, whenever the story needs him to. And obviously the Grinch is not one of those characters. He's just a Grinch who does not like Christmas and doesn't have any fighting experience. Neither does Krampus, but he doesn't have any fighting experience and is just out to get Christmas. He wants to steal Christmas. Whereas Krampus is one of those characters kind of like on the same level of Santa Claus, where he comes to someone like just whenever he wants. He can like teleport inside your house and just do whatever he wants to you, whenever. I guess you could say I'm making some unrealistic assumptions, but it just seems that from what I've seen, Krampus is one of those characters like Sam, or I can't think of a better example right now, but just he seems to be able to do whatever he wants, whenever the story or whenever he needs him to. So that's just what I feel. I feel that because of Krampus's versatility and because of just his the bigger advantages that he has over Grinch, because Grinch, his smarts can really only come into play whenever he has prep time, and that he's obviously not going to have prep time in this fight. But just because of the overwhelming power and versatility that Krampus has over Grinch, I just feel like he's more likely to come out on top. So, in my opinion, the winner is Krampus. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a like. Comment down below if you think I missed something, if you think I'm wrong with something, because who knows, I might actually be, maybe I'm making some incorrect assumptions. But if you know something about these characters that I didn't mention, please comment that down below, and comment down what you thought of this video. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, tell me why. And if you could subscribe to my channel, that'd be so great. That would really help me out. I make these videos pretty regularly, and right now we're in the middle of the Christmas season. I know Christmas has already ended, but I just didn't have time to get it all done because of school and everything like that, but I'm still hoping to make it keep going strong and get them out as fast as I can for all you guys to watch. So yeah, so if you could subscribe, that would be so great. That would really help me out, and I would really appreciate it. But even just your view means so much to me. I'm so glad that you guys were here to watch, because you could have spent how much, like over 17 minutes. You could have used that time to do something else, but you decided to watch this video. So I thank you for that. And guys, I am hosting I am having a Q&A coming soon. So if you want to ask me a question, or a few questions, go to my Q&A announcement video and type your questions there. I guess technically you could leave them in this video, but please tell me that's for the Q&A, because if you don't, I'll probably just answer it straight in the comments, and that'll take away the purpose of the Q&A video in general. But anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this. I know I did. Thank you guys so much for watching this special episode of the Christmas season, and next time on Who Would Win and Why, we got Iceman, who's returning, going up against Blizzard. See you all then.